The sea is vast and powerful, and can also be a stage for unexpected twists. From close calls that make your heart skip a beat to comical calamities, we have sailed the 7 seas to gather a collection of videos showcasing moments when sea travel went awry. Here are the top 20 ship collisions you have to see. Number 20. Whale-watching ship crashes. Sometimes, disaster can spring out of nowhere, like a rogue wave on a calm sea. March 2016 in San Diego started like any other spring day, sunny and buzzing with tourist excitement. A small crowd had gathered on the wharf, cameras at the ready to watch the adventure hornblower, a whale-watching ship, gracefully return to its dock. Suddenly, the idyllic scene shattered. The small cruise ship emitted 5 loud horn blasts, catching everyone's attention. But it did not slow down. It hurtled straight toward the onlooking crowd. Panic ensued, and people scrambled to get out of harm's way. The adventure hornblower ended up crashing into the concrete seawall, causing damage to the hull and buckling a portion of the well-traveled brick walkway. In the aftermath, 3 passengers end up in area hospitals with traumatic injuries, while 4 others receive on-the-spot treatment and are released. Now the burning question: why didn't it slow down? According to Fire Captain Joe Amador, the ship's propulsion system malfunctioned. As the chaos unfolded, passengers shared their harrowing experiences. One recounted clinging to the ship's side, anticipating the collision with the dock. Another man found himself just inches away from a wall on board, his head and arms slammed against it upon impact. A woman witnessed a fellow passenger falling and hitting her head while skidding across the deck. Fortunately, none of the injuries was life-threatening, though some passengers required transportation off the ship on stretchers. Number 19. Carnival Glory and the Carnival Legend. Imagine you are on a giant cruise ship, all set for a tropical paradise vacation. But upon arrival, you hear a loud clang and feel a bump. Your ship just crashed into another while trying to dock. Not exactly the smooth arrival most of us dream of when picturing a sunny cruise vacation. Well, this was the case with 2 Carnival cruise ships, the Carnival Glory and the Carnival Legend, back in 2019. These 2 massive ships, taller than most buildings, had a bit of a fender bender. The Glory, a 952-foot behemoth, was trying to snuggle into its Cozumel port spot when it, well, misjudged the distance. It ended up giving its already docked neighbor, the Carnival Legend, a not-so-gentle nudge at the bow. Luckily, the damage was mostly to the Glory's back decks, like a scraped bumper on a car. Nobody was seriously hurt, just a few bumps and bruises for 6 unlucky passengers. Now, you might think this would be a vacation-ruining disaster. But the passengers took it all in stride. Maybe it's the salty air, the anticipation of margaritas on the beach, or just the sheer absurdity of 2 giant ships crashing. Whatever it was, they kept calm and carried on, ready to explore Cozumel despite the nautical fender bender, so there you have it. A reminder that even on a luxury cruise, sometimes things don't go exactly as planned. But hey, at least it makes for a story to tell, right? Just remember, when you're cruising the high seas, keep your eyes peeled for any rogue ships and maybe pack some extra band-aids just in case. Number 18. Tunisian roro ship Ulissi and the Cypress-flagged container ship CSL Virginia. On a seemingly ordinary day in October 2018, the Mediterranean Sea witnessed a collision between 2 vessels, the Tunisian roro ferry Ulissi and the Cypress-flagged container ship CSL Virginia. Approximately 28 kilometers northwest of Cape Corsica, the Ulissi struck the anchored Virginia, leading to a rupture in the latter's hull and a bunker spill of approximately 4 kilometers off Corsica. Thick oil washed up on the beaches, prompting volunteers to use shovels and sacks to clean up. An investigation revealed that the watch officer on the Tunisian roro ship was on the phone during the incident, while the CSL Virginia's counterpart wasn't paying attention to radar alarms. This negligence resulted in hundreds of tons of bunker fuel entering the Mediterranean Sea. After the collision, the 2 ships remained locked together for 5 days to prevent further damage and environmental pollution. They were eventually disentangled on October 11, 2018. The estimated damages to both ships amounted to at least 13.5 million euros, with an additional 10 million euros estimated for the coastal water cleaning operation. It was a costly incident caused by human errors. The aftermath not only impacted the ships financially, but also led to environmental consequences that required extensive cleanup efforts by volunteers along the affected beaches. Number 17. Crash at the port of Busan. Meet Milano Bridge, not the city or a Hollywood blockbuster, but the star of a mega accident in the bustling port of Busan, South Korea. Back in April 6, 2020, the Milano Bridge, while trying to dock, crashed into a crane, causing a spectacular crash on the ship's stern. The noise? Think of it as the clash of titans echoing through the port. But what went wrong? Why did the mighty Milano Bridge stumble like a drunken sailor? Turns out, the ship was on a fast track, sailing too swiftly for its own good. One of its propellers was partly peaking above the water, turning the ship into a tricky beast to handle. And well, accidents happened. The researchers uncovered that the ship entered the port with about a third of its propeller above the waterline due to insufficient ballast water. To add to the plot, Milano Bridge wasn't carrying any cargo. It was en route to a Chinese shipyard for repairs. As if that wasn't enough, the ship approached Pier 2 at a brisk 8 knots, cruising faster than the typical 6-knot speed limit for mooring. In essence, Milano Bridge's speedy entrance, combined with a propeller playing peekaboo and a lack of ballast water, set the stage for this port drama. Fortunately, it was a show with no tragic endings, but it did leave the port of Busan buzzing with the tale of Milano Bridge's unexpected rendezvous with a crane. Number 16. Cargo ship collides with container vessel. There have been many shocking maritime accidents throughout history, even beyond the famous tragedy of the Titanic. These unfortunate events can have devastating consequences for both people and the environment. One such accident involved the MV Tricolor, a massive car carrier ship. In 2002, this 50,000-ton ship was sailing from Belgium to England, carrying a luxurious cargo of nearly 3,000 BMWs, Volvos, and Saabs. But early one foggy morning, disaster struck. It collided with another ship, the Bahamian-flagged container vessel Carnival, about 20 miles off the French coast. The impact was brutal. The Carnival, though badly damaged, managed to stay afloat. But the Tricolor wasn't so lucky. It flipped onto its side like a beached whale and sank in roughly 100 feet of water. Thankfully, there were no human casualties. The 24 crew members were safely rescued by the Carnival and another nearby boat. However, the environmental and economic impact was significant. Almost 3,000 cars and other cargo, like tractors and crane parts, were lost to the depths. It was a massive loss for the auto industry and a sad reminder of the dangers of the sea. Number 15. German barge crashes against bridge. Back in 1981, when they finished building the Wilhelmsbrug, a flashy red bridge in Rotterdam, the idea was to make it pop against the blue sky. But the red color was also supposed to be a signal for ships to steer clear. Well, that plan didn't quite work out when a German barge decided to give the bridge a bump, even with its bright red warning. The clumsy encounter happened in 2020 on the river between the Wilhelmsbrug and the Erasmus Bridge, not far from Europe's supposed biggest port in Rotterdam. It caused a bit of chaos, messing with operations to the east of the port. From the video of the incident, you'll see the barge's yellow containers crashing into the lower part of the bridge. It sent 6 of those containers splashing into the water. Quite the scene. They had to shut down traffic on the bridge right after the mishap, but surprisingly, the bridge itself didn't suffer major damage. The barge just hung out under the bridge all day, while they worked on fishing out those 6 containers that went for an unexpected swim. The good news is that despite the chaos, nobody got hurt in the collision. Lucky break. Number 14. Crane crashes onto ship in Vancouver. Up next is another case of a crane doing a not-so-elegant dance with a ship. Back in 2019 at the port of Vancouver, things got a bit chaotic when the Ever Summit container vessel decided to have a not-so-friendly encounter with an orange Van Term ship-to-shore crane. It was around 4 a.m. and the Ever Summit, in the process of berthing, crashed into the crane. Now, the good news is that despite the crane doing a little toppling act onto the ship, Global Container Terminals, the crane's owner, assured everyone that no one got hurt. That's a relief, right? But wait, there's more to the story. If you take a peek at the scene, you will see the crane's boom casually draping itself across the vessel. They had to set up an exclusion zone to keep the workers a safe distance away. Now, here's the plot twist. Turns out, it wasn't just bad luck. It was a case of mix-up in commands. The pilot guiding the Ever Summit intended to dock with the help of 2 tugs. But guess what? The tugs received conflicting signals and went in opposite directions. The ship's stern ends up making contact with the berth, and down goes the crane. Subsequent investigations also revealed that the pilot and the bridge team had difficulty seeing the tugs clearly, and the pilot relied on memory to keep track of their positions. Well, let's just say it didn't end well. Number 13. 2 ships collide in Ontario's Welland Canal. Still in Canada, we witness another maritime encounter, and this time it's a head-on collision between 2 ships in Ontario's Welland Canal. This happened around 4 p.m. on Saturday, July 11, 2020, in this crucial shipping route connecting Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. The 2 ships, Florence Spirit and the Alanis, suffered extensive structural damage to their hulls. Florence Spirit was on its way with a load of coal destined for Quebec City, while the Alanis was bound for Duluth, Minnesota, and it was carrying wind turbine components. Thankfully, in the midst of this chaos, nobody got hurt, and the canal waterway remained pollution-free. Now, let's get to the why of this awkward collision. According to the Transportation Safety Board of Canada, it all boils down to hydrodynamic forces playing tricks on one of the vessels in the waterway. In simpler terms, it's like the water had its own plans, pushing one of the ships into the path of the other. Nature can be a bit unpredictable, even on the high seas. Number 12. Ship crashes into bridge in Ecuador. What's with ships crashing into bridges? Here is another wild one from Guayaquil, Ecuador, where a crane operator had a front row seat to a Chinese ship, the Fu Yuan Yuleng 999, going full-speed crash into a pedestrian bridge at the Ecuadorian Naval Shipyard on June 16, 2020. The Chinese-flagged ship went out of control while trying to enter a dock and only hit the brakes after giving the bridge a good nudge. One can't help but wonder if the crew had a little nap time on duty. But wait, there's more to this ship's story. Turns out this crash might be the least of its troubles. Back in 2017, Ecuador seized the Fuyuan Yuleng for illegal fishing. When they boarded the ship, surprise, they found 300 tons of sharks and other illegal fish. That's quite the catch, but not in a good way. Turns out, the company likely owning the ship, Pingtan, is no stranger to controversy. They're reportedly into human trafficking and shark poaching in East Timor. And get this, they own more than 140 of these vessels. It's like a fleet of trouble. There's another company possibly connected to this ship, owning a cool 78 vessels. The crazy part? China seems to play hide-and-seek with ownership details and isn't too keen on addressing the whole issue. So, while this ship's crashing into bridges, there's a whole mystery surrounding its ownership, a shady track record, and a fleet of potentially mischievous vessels still out there. Number 11. Ship launch almost goes wrong. Launching a ship, after all that hard work building it, is usually a moment of pride for shipbuilders, but things can take a wild turn in the blink of an eye. Let's rewind to the launch of the 90-meter-long cargo ship Tasman in the Netherlands. It was February 18, 2019, at the Royal Botawes Shipyard in Hoogesand. The yard is buzzing with excitement. It's even open to the public, and people are gathered to witness the grand moment. But hold on, here's where it gets heart-pounding. As Tasman starts its graceful slide into the water, a dock worker decides it's the perfect time to untie a rope. Yeah, you heard that right. Untie a rope with a massive 3,000-ton ship on the move. It's like a scene from an action movie. The ship sliding, people watching in awe, and our daring dock worker risking a close encounter. Lucky for him, quick reflexes and probably a bit of luck saved the day. The worker managed to dodge being squished and narrowly escaped a headline that would have read, "Rope removal gone wrong, shipyard stunt." So while launching a ship is indeed a thrilling moment, this particular launch had an unexpected twist that could have turned it into a real nail-biter. Number 10. Cruise ship crashes into tourist boat. Cruise ships are supposed to bring joy, but in June 2019, one brought chaos to a port in Venice. The massive 13-deck cruise ship, MSC Opera, suffered an engine failure, turning a pleasant cruise day into a chaotic scene. People on land were basically sprinting away as the ship, blaring its sirens, scraped along the dockside and also crashed into the River Countess tourist boat. 2 tugboats tried their best to guide the cruise ship, but alas, the crash couldn't be avoided. Now imagine people on the riverboat, trying to escape the chaos. The footage shows them hurriedly disembarking over a short gangplank, with at least 2 unlucky individuals left stranded as the vessel collided with the pier. It's a mix of urgency and pandemonium. In the aftermath, 5 women aboard the riverboat get injured. One of them gets a speedy release from the hospital, but the other 4 are advised to remain under medical care for a few days. Thankfully, no one faced life-threatening injuries, but it sure left a lasting memory of chaos on the water. Number 9. Triple collision. So far, we have seen 2 ships collide, but have you heard about a collision involving not 2, but 3 ships? This happened at the outer anchorage of Kerch Strait in the Black Sea on November 27, 2023. 3 bulk carriers were involved, 2 flying the Russian flag, and 1 with likely Russian interest. The troublemaker in this trio was the Matros Shevchenko. The ship set sail from Port Kavkaz or anchorage, exited Kerch Strait, and was navigating the outer anchorage when things took a wild turn due to rough weather. It lost control and collided with the anchored Matros Pazanik. But wait, that's not the end of it. Apparently, both these ships, now coupled, drifted into the path of the bulk carrier Kavkaz 5, which was either heaving anchor or already underway. Miraculously, all 3 ships sustained only minor damages. Now let's talk about why this happened. Sure, the storm had a role to play, but according to the Ukrainian Navy, someone didn't follow the water safety rules. So, apart from the wild weather, it seems like a bit of human error added the final touch to this maritime mishap. Number 8. Ship loses power in Newport Harbor. Ships are incredible feats of engineering, but just like any man-made creation, glitches can pop up out of nowhere. Take the tall ship SSV Oliver Hazard Perry, for instance. Cruising through Rhode Island's Newport Harbor, this majestic 3-masted 200-foot training vessel lost power at the worst possible moment. It was departing from Bowen's Wharf Seafood Festival with a crew of 12 on board when the unexpected happened. With no power steering, the ship went on an unexpected collision course with nearby boats before finally coming to rest. Now, here's the silver lining. Amidst the chaos, no injuries were reported, and there were no nasty fuel leaks. But of course, there's always a culprit in these tales. The owner of the SSV Oliver Hazard Perry pointed fingers at a dock line. Apparently, this little troublemaker got entangled in the ship's 2 propellers, leading to the unexpected loss of power and the subsequent boat ballet in Newport Harbor. Number 7. The boat chase. We have all seen high-speed car chases, but boat chases? Not an everyday occurrence, right? Well, hold on to your life jackets because in San Diego, something like that actually happened. It all kicked off when a report of yacht vandalism led police to the Pacific Coast Highway on the morning of March 10, 2022. Police rushed to the scene, and what did they find? The suspect decided to play a game of hide-and-seek. He jumped into a boat to make a quick getaway. Now, here's where the plot takes a turn. The boat, with our wannabe sailor at the helm, didn't navigate the waters smoothly. First, he collided with a docked sailboat, toppling its mast and injuring a woman on board. Not the smoothest escape, right? Undeterred, our boat bandit reverses, circles around, and, with the Orange County Sheriff's Department Harbor Patrol hot on the trail, continues the wild ride through the harbor. But wait, there's more. The chase ends with a bang as the boat slams into another parked vessel and crashes into a wall beside a bridge. The man behind the mayhem, 38-year-old Joel Siam, was eventually arrested and booked on suspicion of grand theft of a boat and possession of a stolen boat, with a hefty $3 million bail. As for the boat's owner, who was too upset to face the cameras, he shared that the vessel was bought brand new in August for a charter business. Oh, and a half-empty bottle of tequila from inside the boat? Now gone. Talk about adding insult to injury. Number 6. Ship crashes into football field. There are those times when shipping accidents happen way out at sea, away from the public eye. Then there are those other times when accidents play out right in front of everyone, in the middle of one of the most crowded cities on Earth. This video from April 2014 captured the moment a 610-foot container ship Hansa Constitution went off course in Hong Kong's bustling East Lama shipping channel and headed straight into a football field at the University of Hong. Yes, you heard that right. A ship in the middle of a city. Thankfully, the waterfront wasn't short of spectators, and several residents quickly grabbed their cameras to capture the scene. The ship's crew, realizing things were getting off track, tried their best to avoid a shoreline rendezvous with too much impact. Well, it didn't quite work out as planned. The accident got blamed on a combination of power loss and strong winds. The vessel ended up spending a brief moment stuck on the seawall before a reverse maneuver got it off the hook, and it was sailed to a local anchorage for a thorough checkup. Miraculously, no injuries or pollution made it to the incident report. Now, it's time for today's subscriber pick. Ever wondered what it's like on the open seas? It's an adventure, all right, but even the calmest waters can hold hidden dangers. From a bump in the night with another vessel to a rogue wave sending things haywire, accidents come in all shapes and sizes. Some are as gentle as a seagull feather landing on your deck, while others can shake your ship like a kraken in a rage. And then there's the fiery fiend, the ship fire. Imagine flames licking at the steel hull, smoke billowing like a storm cloud. These are the nightmares that keep every sailor on their toes. But remember, even the mightiest storms eventually clear. Modern technology, skilled crews, and a healthy dose of caution keep most voyages smooth sailing. Now tell us, what's the most unexpected thing you've ever seen happen at sea? Share your stories in the comments. Number 5. The boat mishap in West London. In December 2023, a group of West Ham fans found themselves in a bit of a pickle when their party boat pulled a surprise move and crashed into Hammersmith Bridge on the way to a football match at Craven Cottage. Attempting an unconventional route, the boat, filled with the singing West Ham fans, collided with the low-hanging bridge in West London. In the video, you see the boat, trying to navigate the waters and suddenly meeting the bridge. There's a bit of turning and maneuvering, but luckily no one got hurt. Once the boat found a safe spot, everyone hopped off, unscathed. Sadly, the joyous singing didn't translate to a victorious evening at Craven Cottage. Fulham had other plans, beating West Ham 5-0. It seems the day had its share of highs and lows, both on the water and on the football pitch. Number 4. Cruise ship docks wrongly. The Harmony of the Seas is one of the world's longest cruise liners. It is a floating marvel with a £1 billion price tag. It's got it all 23 swimming pools, a 1,400-seater theater, and a whopping 2,700 rooms to host nearly 5,500 guests. But surprise, even the grandest ships have their oops moments. In May 2022, the Harmony of the Seas embarked on a 7-day cruise from Port Canaveral, Florida, United States. A few days later, as the ship was attempting to gracefully back into its designated docking spot in Jamaica, things went a bit sideways. The mammoth ship decided to give a gentle nudge to a pier, causing a momentary uproar among the guests as the metal dock scraped along the liner's stern side. A bit of a dramatic parking job, you could say. Amidst the chaos, with passengers letting out screams on impact, the good news is that there were no injuries reported among the crew or the guests. The collision, despite the initial shock, resulted in nothing more than a few cosmetic bruises for the vessel, some dents and paint scrapes. Number 3. Offshore supply vessel rams into ship. Next on the list is a case of not looking for trouble, but trouble finding you. In June, the 49-meter yacht Eleonora E found itself in hot water, or rather, deep water. The poor thing got a taste of the sea from an offshore supply vessel that decided to give it an unwelcome hug while Eleonora E was peacefully parked in the marina. If you watch the footage, it's like a game of bumper boats gone wrong. The offshore vessel, facing some mechanical hiccups, crashes right into Eleonora E's starboard side and causes it to sink to the bottom of the sea. Fortunately, no one got injured in this accident, and the Eleonora E, after spending several weeks submerged in the port, was later brought to the surface and carted away for some much-needed repairs. Eleonora E now definitely has quite the tale to tell, and it's probably not one it expected when it was peacefully enjoying its time at the marina. But hey, that's the unpredictable dance of the high seas for you. Number 2. Super Yacht V's Coast Guard. The story behind this next ship collision was like something straight out of an action movie, but sadly, it's real life. In July 2020, we had a 27-meter super yacht named Belgor and a Coast Guard patrol vessel engaged in a showdown that wasn't your typical high seas drama. Word on the dock was that this clash was allegedly part of a drug smuggling operation. The Coast Guard got wind of reports hinting at some unwelcome cargo on board the yacht, docked in Mugla, close to Bodrum. Now, you would think the yacht would play it cool, but nope. It decided to make a run for it, attempting to leave Turkish waters. Here's where things took a wild turn. The Coast Guard, not ready to let this yacht escape its clutches, started with the warnings. But the yacht, feeling a bit too adventurous, paid no heed. What do you do when words don't work? Well, the Coast Guard resorted to warning shots and a full-on ramming of the yacht. In the end, Belgor doesn't quite make a clean getaway. Instead, the Coast Guard ensures they bring this high-seas escapade to a crashing halt. Who said the open waters were boring? It's all happening out there. Number 1. Cruise ship crashes into oil tanker. Mother Nature can be very unpredictable, and when she decides to throw a stormy tantrum, even a 300-meter-long tourist cruise ship isn't spared. In the Spanish port of Palma de Mallorca, chaos unfolded when strong winds, reaching around 120 kilometers per hour, swept through the island. The Britannia cruise ship, with thousands of British tourists on board ready to disembark, felt the brunt of it. As if playing a not-so-friendly game of tug-of-war, the winds snapped the moorings of the cruise ship, pushing it forcefully across the dock. The unlucky collision partner was a Castillo de Arteaga oil tanker. Now, the result was a hole in the tanker's hull, right on the side of the quay. Luckily, though, no oil spilled into the sea. Nature might have been throwing a fit, but at least she spared the marine environment from further trouble. No serious injuries were also reported following the chaos. A small number of people experienced minor injuries, but they were treated by the ship's medical center. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.